Propane comes from two sources. It's a byproduct which comes from the refining processes of natural gas and petroleum. 60% of this comes from natural gas, while the remaining 40% comes from petroleum. Propane is already the third most commonly used engine fuel in the world. Countries in Europe, South Korea, and Australia have proven that this is a viable motor fuel. Therefore, the need is for companies like Roush to develop applications that work for American fleet customers.
3 years ago, we partnered with the Propane Education and Research Council. PERC came to us and said, look, we want to develop other propane-powered applications beyond just the current traditional applications of home heating, forklifts, and things like that. They said we'd like to develop dedicated propane-powered engines for Ford trucks and vans.
There's a common misconception that propane is not as safe as gasoline or diesel for motor fuel. But in reality, propane is the safest motor fuel in the world. It has the narrowest flammability range of any fuel, especially when compared to gas or diesel.
And you look at this tank here, this is 1/4-inch thick steel, so nearly impenetrable versus typical gas tanks are hardened plastic.
Why would you go through the process of converting a fleet to run on propane? There are really three answers to this question. First, there is the environmental benefit. Secondly, there's an economical benefit. And finally, there's even a political benefit. From an environmental standpoint, propane is much cleaner and much more environmentally friendly when compared to gas or diesel. Propane offers a 19% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, a 20% reduction in nitrogen oxide emissions, and a whopping 60% reduction in carbon monoxide. The economic benefit for using propane in your fleet can be very significant.
If you look at the last 15 years, the cost of propane has trended about 30% less than gasoline. So when you start to look at operating costs, when you look at your cost per gallon being 30% less than gas, that's a significant savings. There are also additional federal incentives in place that can even take your cost of propane to less than $1 per gallon. So many of our prospective fleet customers are seeing a significant savings over running their fleet on gas or diesel. Beyond that, there are also some savings from a maintenance perspective. Some of our customers see less frequent oil changes, engine life lasting longer, things that we're continuing to prove out as we continue in the propane business.
Most of the propane that we consume is already produced in the United States. In fact, more than 90% of the world's propane comes from the U.S. soil. This truly is an American fuel and reduces our need for foreign oil.
If you're interested in doing the right thing for the environment and saving money without sacrificing performance with horsepower and torque and towing, then Roush propane-powered vehicles are your answer.